And we're always talking about efficiencies in the system. So what are some of those efficiencies your customers are seeing? Maybe even if you have a, example of some customers that have seen great efficiencies, and how long does it
Yeah.
take to realize those efficiencies?
Yeah. It is all about efficiency, and efficiency is a hard one sometimes to quantify. Everybody talks about efficiency, but not everybody is able to necessarily say, this is what it's going to mean to your profit. So there's an element of protecting your profit with efficiencies as well, simply because you are now moving away from that rote work, that very repetitive manual work, and you're able to take the efficiencies gained from not having to do that stuff and redistribute that brain power into something else, redistribute that brain power into building your competitive advantage, into focusing more on the task at hand and your core competencies as a business, and less time on that, that data collection side of things. So the efficiencies are really going to start to happen from day one. Once you implement a software like this, there's an element of change management. Everybody needs to go through that first. We need to make sure the implementation and that training process is on point so that they can realize those gained efficiencies right away from day one. But once we've done that, we're certainly able to, they're certainly able to realize how much easier things are from the very beginning. But it's also a process, right? What we find is that most of our customers, they do go through that change. They go through that shift. It's a lot moving away from a spreadsheet. As an entire organization, to move away from those, it takes some time. So, with our solution, we have a very modular based approach where you can take on other components of the software down the road. So you might not necessarily want to bite off everything at once, right? You might want to just take on a smaller part. So let's just say field ticketing as an example. That might be the only thing you want to start with. You focus on that, you get it, finely tuned, and then you add in some kind of pre-job work like dispatching and scheduling, or maybe you want to get into project management or into the invoicing processes along the way as well. So you can kind of take that staggered approach, but usually within 3 to 6 months or so, it's very apparent that there's a world of efficiencies gained because you're taking less time to do the exact same stuff as before.
I see.
Yeah, one thing actually you mentioned too, which was some examples. One example was, we had a customer that was monitoring their employee labor as a percentage of their revenue, right? So their labor costs as it relates to their total overall revenue. And they were noticing a trend where it was increasing, like that labor percentage was going from an average of about 70% up to about 93%. And they had that information in real time, right in front of their faces. And they thought to themselves, well, why are we seeing this? We don't understand. And so they started to do some investigation, found out that they were overstaffing on some of their jobs and their projects. Some people were, billing for their time on site, but they didn't have a full plate, right? Necessarily, they weren't, they didn't need to be there all day, for example. So they made some changes and they quickly corrected that issue and they got back to that 70%. Again, without a system that is fully integrated, that's taking all of that stuff together, it's really difficult to emulate that in just a spreadsheet or manual based environment. So it was good for them and they really appreciated it.